Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the worm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Welcome, never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now spread to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Michikent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa, Florida, where the Sept of the Evening Star attempts to combat the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. But before we get to talking about all that, I want to mention our Ko-fi membership program. If you look at that link down below that links to the Ko-fi, you can go sign up for as low as $5 a month and get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes material like the Rosebud Thorns for all of our sessions, including Rage, Hellhounds, and the upcoming Red Tide Rising, as well as a bunch of other fun features like sneak peeks at upcoming artwork, and all kinds of cool stuff. It's really, really worth the price, and it really supports the community. So I definitely encourage you to go check out the Ko-fi and become a member today. You should also go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below, because rumor has it the first official announcement of Red Tide Rising came out today on all of our social media. And so if you want to learn about our upcoming Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, you should go check that out because the Tampaverse is growing. And if you don't want to miss out on any of the fun that comes with that, the only way to stay in the loop. You can also join our community by following that Discord link and become one of the 150 some odd members we have in the community, and you might find yourself in a game sooner rather than later. But let's get to the business at hand. Rage Across Tampa by introducing the amazing players that make this story possible. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, the Creeperson, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi everybody, I'm Nori, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hello, all you wonderful people. My name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams in Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bonar.
I guess I'm a villager after the creeper intro. Hi, my name is Nick. I'm playing Izzy, aka Entwined Smiles with Claws, the Arun Child of Gaia.
Let's get everybody caught up as to where we are right now. Last week, we saw Jester take Izzy and Terrence to the Guru Rage Room, where Izzy was able to let off some steam, and even Terrence was able to get in on the fun. Eventually, Izzy was able to vent out some of that frustration and have a conversation with Jester about everything, or at least some of what was going on with his terse introduction when he arrived at the Sept. We then saw Charles come and talk to Jace at the gun range, where he attempted to apologize for what had happened at Piney Point. Jace was in a less than forgiving mood at the time and really put Charles to the test, holding his feet over the fire and even going so far as to make him make an oath that no member of the pack would come to harm. What this means for the future, we'll have to see, as a guru's life is extremely perilous and extremely dangerous, and some things are just beyond any individual's control. Then after the break, we saw Izzy, who had stopped at a park to really have a bit of an emotional break, was encountered by Unicorn, and they had a very important discussion where Unicorn basically told Izzy they needed to shape up because there were other younger children of Gaia in the Sept in need of his guidance. And then finally, we saw Aspen, the kin seeker, not just the Sept leader, go to find Murphy, the kin, at a pool hall bar. While they were talking, however, Kyle and Victoria from the Cult of Fenris arrived as well, with similar motivations at mind. After a little bit of verbal sparring, everything dissipated, or so it seemed, as Kyle and Victoria left and Aspen and Murphy continued their conversation, taking it outside and for a walk. Unfortunately, that walk was interrupted by the largest wolf Murphy had ever seen, and that Aspen could quickly identify as a guru in their hispo form. So let's pick up right where we left off, shall we? Aspen, you and Murphy find yourselves on a side street in a neighborhood late at night. There are no apparent cars on the road, and directly in front of you is a large gray-furred wolf who is snarling at you and moving its way forward, prepared to engage. What do you do?
I would like to push Murphy into like kind of a safe spot behind me. But at this point, things have gotten weird, so I'm going to move into Glabro, but I want to start backing away with Murphy behind.
Okay, go ahead and make the rage check to shift into your almost demi-human form. Your clothes growing tighter, you growing taller, your muscles starting to fill out. Meanwhile, you can hear Murphy behind you just starting to stumble and stutter, having presented for the most part a confident facade, aside from his bumbling attempt to spill drinks. Now you can actually see fear starting to grip at him as he watches the large wolf in front of him, and then you starting to change shape, something that he had never experienced before. As you continue to back up, the wolf just menacingly moves its way forward. And then, from behind you, another growl emanates, and as you look over your shoulder, Murphy is facing the opposite direction, going, as there is a black-furred wolf of a similar shape and size having come from the rear and starting to approach.
Okay. What does the landscape look like? I know we were walking down an alley, so are we completely blocked off at this point?
So I would say you're actually on a side street. So there are houses lining either side of the street. To go back the way you came would be to encounter the main road you had come off of. However, that way is blocked at the moment by another Hispo wolf behind you. The sides are, you're not sure exactly what remains at either side at the moment. You could potentially try to go between some of the houses nearby, but it's a little bit more difficult to tell what awaits down there.
Okay. Turning around, seeing the other wolf, she's gonna grab Murphy's hand and trail back and around to try and get past this black wolf.
Okay, make a dexterity and athletics check for me.
What rage am I at?
I would say at this point you're at a rage 2, for sure.
That's a big fat 0.
Okay, so as you attempt to move off of the sidewalk and out into the street to try and avoid the large black wolf, they just hop over to the side, letting out another growl and then a bark in your direction as they prepare to move forward and close the trap around you. What's your next intention?
Still trying to get past this wolf. I'm going to attempt to use stare down.
Okay.
See if I get it to move out of the way just enough so we can get past.
Sure. Go ahead. What's the expenditure on that in the roll?
It is a 1 rage, and it is a charisma and honor versus composure and resolve.
Okay, so go ahead and spend the rage, make the rage check, and then make the roll.
I rolled a brutal, but can I also spend a willpower?
Okay. Yeah, you can spend a willpower for sure.
Okay. Okay. So brutal and then 3 successes.
Okay. What are your verbs and adverbs?
It is deliberately, firmly, or logically motivate, lead, or rally.
Okay.
So I'm trying to firmly lead because I'm trying to get Murphy out, if that makes sense.
Okay. You know what? That is a valid justification. So as you narrow your eyes in the direction of the black wolf, they remain poised for just a moment before you see their ears start to lay back and their tails start to drop and droop and tuck as they start to back off and to the side. It is what happens next that expresses the urgency of the situation, as from a couple of blocks away, you hear a howl call out, and looking back in the direction of the gray-furred wolf, you see several shapes off in the darkness moving in an almost arrow-like formation, heading in your direction.
Just gonna try and get past. Which one is the black one? Is that...
The black one is the one that is blocking you from the street, the main street.
And based off what I know about Kyle and Victoria, which one is the black one?
Victoria.
Okay, that's what I thought. But yeah, I'm just yanking Murphy, trying to get him, because this situation is way too big for us, and it is in an open space, and being in Glabro already has her feeling squicky about it, so she's just trying to get out of the situation.
Okay, roll me let's go with another dexterity and athletics, as you're not going to have much opposition from the front, but you do potentially have others chasing from behind, and you are trying to pull Kyle with you. So I'm going to say that it is going to be at a -1, as you are stronger, but Kyle is basically, or I'm sorry, Murphy is basically a dead weight behind you at the moment. One success. Okay. So as you start pulling Murphy from behind, you can hear the sounds of paws echoing off of the concrete in a full run behind you. As you start to make headway onto the street, something starts pulling you back, and looking over your shoulder, you see that the gray-furred wolf has grabbed on to Murphy's pant cuff and is yanking from the other side, teeth bared, hair standing on end on the back of their neck, as they are backing up, slowly starting to drag both you and Murphy in the opposite direction. You can make a strength and athletics roll to oppose and try to yank Murphy free, or to at least try to pull further towards the street.
Could I, because it's biting his pant leg, right?
Yes.
Can I just punch it in the nose? Just punch Kyle right in the nose to try and get him to let go?
Okay. You can definitely try. Yeah, give me a strength and brawl as you step forward and attempt to punch Kyle in the nose. Five. Okay. So as you rear back and throw your fist outward, almost pulling Murphy at the same time to gain a little bit of extra ground and leverage, you do make contact with the side of Kyle's head, and he lets out a little bit of a surprised yelp and backs off, releasing Murphy's pant leg for the moment. Murphy just almost repeatedly is saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?"
I turn to him, stick with me, and I'm still trying to just get us to the street, because I told Artie to kind of follow a good distance behind, so I know he's somewhere close. I just have to get to Artie and Regina.
Okay. So as you start to pull Murphy, trying to get him behind you again, more towards the street and backing up, looking in the opposite direction behind Kyle, 3 more wolves have entered into the fray, are probably about a block away, but it'll take them no time to get towards you. I would like you to make me a strength and brawl or dexterity and athletics, as all of them start to try and move towards you and surround you.
I will do strength and brawl.
Okay. Now, I will say you can either use your full pool against one of them, and then you have to do dex and athletics -1, -2, and -3, or you can try to split your pool to try and hit multiple of them.
Okay. I'm gonna spend another willpower,
Okay.
and then we're gonna try and split it where we can.
Okay.
We will do 4 on one, 3 on another, and then you want me to roll a dex and athletics.
Dex and athletics
for the last one?
-1. Yeah.
Two.
Okay. You are able to successfully backhand one of them as they leap towards you away. The second one, you kind of come head to head with, neither of you exchanging damage, keeping them kind of back, but more blocking than actually doing any damage in return. And then for the third one, as you attempt to dodge out of the way of it, you feel claws rake into the side of you, doing 2 points of superficial damage as they tear through your shirt and into your side, causing blood to start welling up in straight lines across your side. Okay. At this point, you hear the sounds of screeching tires and squealing rubber as down at the opposite end from behind the wolves, headlights whip their way around the corner and a beaten up green Jeep comes hurling down the road in your direction. Let me make 3 checks here. Okay. The sounds of 3 separate thuds herald Artie and Regina's arrival as they crash into 3 of the wolves, sending them sprawling off in the separate directions, unable to dodge quickly enough out of the way of the car. Artie doesn't even have to throw. Regina throws open the passenger side door, and Artie says, let's go, let's go, let's go. There's more. At this point, I need you to make a dexterity and athletics roll to jump into the car.
One
success. Okay. As you attempt to pull Murphy towards the Jeep, trying to get your way into the passenger side, the wolves all descend upon Murphy, biting at his legs, clawing at his side, some of them attempting to break your grip on his hand, so take another 2 points of superficial damage as they rake across your arm. Here is your choice. You can release Murphy and therefore have a quick getaway, or you can make a strength and athletics check to try and yank him into the car. However, you are going up against 3 other Guru who have basically surrounded and grabbed onto him in one form or another, him letting out pained screams as they bite down into his actual legs.
She wouldn't leave him behind, so I'm gonna try.
Give me a strength and athletics check.
Two.
As you attempt to pull upon Murphy's outstretched hand, slowly you start to feel your grip slide along his hand. Looking into his eyes, you see nothing but abject terror and fear as his fingers slowly slide through your hands and you lose the grip. Artie, without hesitation, just guns the engine and starts tearing off down the road with you in the passenger seat, kind of dangling out of the side of the car as Murphy is pounced upon by 3 wolves in Hispo who all start rending and tearing, ripping pieces of fabric off of his form, blood starting to spatter across the sidewalk.
She watches and hopes, just, I don't know, there's a hope in her that he'll change in that moment.
Give me a composure and resolve check to see if you can stop yourself from trying to leap out of the car and do anything about this.
Three.
You have the choice to either stay in the car or to jump into the fray. Your instincts alone, your protective instincts won't cause you to do it. It's up to you at this moment.
Okay. And the car's moving, yes?
It is moving, yeah.
How many are there?
Right now, 5. The 2 that you originally encountered and the 3 that came in reinforcements. The 2 of them are staring at you, including Victoria, who is still a little bit cowed by your behavior and your stare down, but they are still snarling in your direction. And then there's Kyle, who has eyes of pure fury staring in your direction and is still starting to advance on the car, not with any real intent to catch it, but definitely to make sure it leaves.
And Murphy's not... Is he yelling?
He's screaming, absolutely. Yeah, he's screaming out in pain and terror.
I look over to Artie with just this pained look and look back out the window or out the door, still holding on to it, almost like in a motion to jump out, but just stares at Artie for a moment.
Artie reaches out and grabs your arm from the other side. There's nothing you can do for him. It's too late.
She slams the door.
With that, you rip off onto the main street. The sounds of screeching tires, not enough to mute out the growls and high-pitched screams that come from the roadway behind you. Except when the scream is cut short, completely cut off, dying out in what could be a gurgle. It's hard to say, but it rattles and kind of dies off. The growling also fading off into the distance as you pull out onto the street. Now it's just you and Artie in the car as you are quickly driving your way. You can tell his intention is to get you back to the cairn, but you can't help and stare in the rear view mirror back in the direction from which you came. We weren't ready. We didn't know they'd all be here. I didn't even see them until I was coming to get you.
Everything in me wants to go back.
Assuming he didn't change, you'd just be joining him. There were too many of them. I can't let you do that. You know I can't. I'm sorry, Aspen. I really am.
Just, was hoping it'd be different.
Me too. But it's not going to be the last one. Not going to be the last chance. And who knows, maybe he'll change and he'll escape. And you can see Artie's sentence just kind of drifts off and dies off at the end there, as even he doesn't believe what he's saying.
Why? Why would... Why
Don't
would
know.
they do that?
Maybe they were hoping he would change too, or maybe they were just trying to make sure we didn't get another. We aren't nearly the small force we were when they were in town last, and I think they're aware of that. Attempting to prevent us from growing to a size that they can't handle.
Stupid. They still believe in Gaia. That's stupid.
Yeah. If I've learned anything, they are zealots. By any means necessary, looking to accomplish their goal and letting nothing get in their way. If they can't convince them to join willingly, they either force them or they move them out of the way. They
Why
don't.
are they even?
Go
Why are
ahead.
they even here?
Don't know. That's what bothers me, is I don't know why they'd be back, why they'd come back here. Pride or greed, or maybe they still have a bone to pick.
They need to be taken care of.
Yeah, they do. Just another thing to add to the list.
Yeah.
He hasn't let go of your hand this entire time, although it was more wrapped around your wrist, trying to prevent you from leaping out of the car, but it just sort of slides down to take your hand in his. It's not your fault. We didn't know they'd be there. We didn't know they were onto him.
Yeah. I get it. It just doesn't feel that way right now.
I understand. I'm really sorry.
I don't know what else to do.
Now we go home. We let everybody know what's happened and we prepare for what's next. We have to keep moving forward. You've always said that in the face of tragedy and loss and setbacks, and we just have to keep moving forward.
Okay.
We'll talk
Okay.
about this more. We will. Promise.
There's
Is he-
other things. There's other things.
Yeah. But that doesn't make this any less important. Your job is to find them. Can't help. Can't prevent these types of things. Try, but have a lot of enemies out there and do the best we can.
Yeah. Okay.
As you continue driving, Artie quickly hops onto the highway to provide a quicker means of escape, a return to the cairn. But as you drive, despite the sounds of traffic on the roadway, all you hear are those screams. With that, we move on to our next scene. Isidoro, ever since you arrived, you have found connections, for better or worse. You've had to dredge up the past, for better or worse. And you've found yourself having not exactly accomplished what you set out to do when you got here. So now, what's next? How do you proceed from here? You tried your best to enrage Charles. You tried your best to enrage the Sept. To no avail. However, on the opposite side, you saw a face you probably thought you'd never see again. Dreams in Decay. someone from home, from the old Sept, possibly the last surviving member of that Sept, aside from yourself. Now that you've found your attempts to sever several connections failed, what are your thoughts?
After so many conversations to assuage his initial frustration and rage, his suicide wish, he is now of the mind, as he looks out across the various members of the cairn, even just looking out to the cityscape, lording over the horizon, and realizing that tomorrow has come, and it's going to be another day tomorrow and another day after that, and he needs to find a way to make use of himself, his skill, and if he has to harbor the pain, he's done it for several years at this point. He just needs to find something else other than feeling sorry for himself.
Having felt like you've at least somewhat smoothed things over with Jester after some very fiery comments you made at the time as to her past, some that could be taken offensively, even though it wasn't intended that way necessarily. Your next possible inroad is that previous connection from a Sept up north. And so you head to the Split Helm, a warehouse that has been refurbished and remade into a bar of sorts, a marine-themed bar. You'd heard that Jace owned this business, and you got a pretty good inclination that this is where you would find him. So going into the bar, you can see that the inside is very nautical indeed. Large plank wood tables line the center of the room. Several barrels are sat by a bar off to the side, and you've got a very nice view of the bay off of the other side. There are a few customers in residence, but they seem to be off at, tables in small groups. Even a group of bikers can be seen off on one side wearing vests that say the Tampa Howlers on the back, talking amongst themselves. And then a group that looked to be dock workers and truckers off to another side in a small group. Jace, what are you doing in this moment, and what's going through your mind, especially after your very intense encounter with Charles?
Jace will be coming from out of his room in the back with his journal. What he normally does is he'll nap partially through the day, and he'll have his journal where he'll write down his different dreams that he has, and he makes his way over to the little espresso machine off to the side, gets his coffee ready, and starts writing down, and then will look up and see Izzy and kind of give him a head nod to the back.
So as Jace gestures you towards the back, you follow him around the bar and you head into a back room. You can see that it leads off to a storage area and a small kitchen on one side, but then there's another room that seems to be almost like a secret games room. There's a dartboard hung up on a wall. There's several folding tables and folding chairs out. There's no one else in the room at the moment, but you can tell that this is like almost a party hosting area with a back door that leads out of the warehouse off to possibly one of the side alleys between the other warehouses. But as you enter in, the low roar coming from the other room starts to die down as this room appears to be pretty nicely soundproofed for the most part. And the scene is yours.
As Izzy sort of looks around, casting a gaze at this piece of furniture or that, he just immediately tries to smooth over the tension as he goes, "Ooh, VIP. What's that fine chair made of? A luxurious plastic?"
Only the finest plastics found in the most luxurious of all the dumpsters.
Rat does provide for you, it seems.
When I'm on my best behavior, it seems.
So
He'll
yeah,
walk over to one of the chairs and sit down, and he'll gesture to another one. Please.
yep. Izzy just slides in, gives it a little mini jump as he tests the weight limit and goes, oof, squeaks.
It adds the character to it. I wasn't expecting to see your face when I walked out there.
No, I can't imagine that was the case. I had spoken with a number of people around the cairn. You can thank Jester and Terrence for pointing me in this direction. I guess the first thing is I just wanted to get out of the Sept. I've been there for too long. Starting to get a bit of a haze, my own stink. You know what I mean?
I understand.
I hope this doesn't technically violate the litany.
Now, I'm not the expert on it, but I'm going to say you're okay.
Okay. Well, we smoothed that over. We're basically friends again.
I don't think we ever really lost it, although it's been several years. And speaking of coming in here and not expecting, I was not expecting your howl to be heard outside and then walking in with that fiery vibrato that you did.
I'm due for an apology tour. Yeah. I came in with... And at this, Izzy really struggles with the best way to put this. With selfish intentions. And I'm honestly just glad you... Well, I don't want to speak for you. Do you find me forgivable? Not to put you on the spot.
At that moment, he takes a long pause thinking about forgiveness. Isidoro, I've had to be doing a lot of forgiving lately. But because of knowing you prior and the issues that you brought up, I accept your apology. Now, I'm just the theurge of the one of the theurges of the area, so you really need to talk to like the really big heads about it. But between you and I, we're okay. Although
Okay.
I do want to know your thought process about coming in the way you did. What did you expect to happen? Because if you went through with it, you're going to lose, or you're going to win, and at that point, you then have to deal with the rest of us here, which you would then lose. So what was your idea about doing what you did?
Having spoken with Jester, she seems rather close to Charles, so I don't know what your personal relationship with him is, but I will tell you now. Even in my wildest dreams, there was no way in hell I was going to beat him. He would have to lie down on the ground and bare his throat to me.
And even then?
Even then. So, if I won, it's the end of the world. I don't know. Probably let the rest of the pack kill me on the spot. At least my swan song would be Entwined smiles with claws, killed Charles Albrecht. But the real truth is I came here expecting to lose. It's, I guess, one of my weak points. And I know, even when we were in each other's spheres, it always seemed like we were running parallel, never really overlapping, which it happens, especially for elder duties and whether or not your pack is glued to a cairn or out doing guys' work. I guess for you, Jason, I know you gave the words of an apology, but I, from the bottom of my heart, truly mean I am sorry to you. I'm sorry for upsetting the rest of your pack. Sorry for intruding on your territory. I'm sorry for offending you. Because I was, as the Alrune does, very dumb and stupid. And at least for now, I'm hoping to make good on your forgiveness. As you may have heard, I've already chatted with Malicious Jester. I've not spoken with your pack leader, Aspen Weiss. But I'm making my way up. And at least as far as who I thought maybe would best be next, after I passed the sniff test, I thought you were next. So, another apology due. I'm sorry for showing up to your bar and forcing you to lather me with all this luxurious equipment. I mean, the only thing you're missing is an arcade and pinball machine.
The pinball machine actually is, we're in the works of doing something about that, but that's
that
down
something
the road.
I could maybe help with?
He'll take a second, kind of lean back in that plastic lawn chair and kind of rock on it for a second.
I may not be of rat, but Children of Gaia and the Bonars are basically peas in a pod for a bunch of these kinds of things. I'm always willing to help.
Words of apology are one thing. Showing apology is another. When the time comes for the procurement of a certain device, if you're still around, I'll reach out.
I get the feeling I will be. Just name a time and I'll be there.
Okay. He'll pull out his phone real quick and shoot Jester a quick text that we got one more for the heist and send it off. So in the meantime, though, what are you doing to keep busy? I know that a mind that is stricken with purpose has a hard time when that purpose can't be executed. So what's your plan to keep the Arune busy?
Offering favors, joining in on pinball plans, but to be less cheeky. For now, I'm hoping that I can impress myself upon the rest of your pack, the rest of the Sept. And after things are, I hesitate to use smoothed over, after things are permissible for me to call this place home, I'm gonna get a long list going of all your enemies, and I'm gonna figure out the best way to bonk them on the head.
A long list.
Ooh, a lot for me to do then.
To an extent. He'll look out past the wall, which then looks over past the canal, which then connects to where the city is at, where the Leech territory is. He'll think for a moment, and then look back at Izzy, and then back towards that wall, almost beyond. When the time's right, I'll get you a list.
I think I'd like that.
Now, the lists here are going to be a little bit different than how things were back home. We got issues here that keep stacking a lot more. Echoing Roots, I didn't realize had such a good hold on the place. Granted, it wasn't abandoned for a decade.
Yeah.
So that does play a factor into it. But it's a constant uphill battle. We have decent footing now, but especially the ones that were here even before I got here, they dug in deep to even get it to where it's at now.
Yeah. Did Charles ever happen to share his experience with rooting out problems like that?
Charles talks a lot, big game for someone like him. So I'm sure he did, but I also don't really pay attention too much.
At that, Izzy's eyebrows shoot up as he detects the faintest bit of sass, I think, and goes, he does talk a big game, but he is right on a number of things.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. The Piercing Moonrise pack, the pack he led, we were quite busy because, as he said, Columbus, Ohio, fairly secure. Obviously, the worm dwells everywhere, but you could raise people who experience their first change at Echoing Roots. You could walk around the Bawn without having to deal with Fomori poking at you. My time with Charles, the pack we went to places a lot like Florida. Lot of problems, not a lot of support. And even after you strike at the biggest problem, that infection just riddles the ground, and it takes seasons for the ground to settle, for footing to be secured, for new life to take root. What I'm trying to say, not to hype myself up too much, is I'm used to it.
Now I'm gonna get a little Theurgy up in here.
Ooh, okay.
One of the great things about what you can do is you take care of that physical really, really well. And you're able to rend it and remove it. But that after effect that happens once you guys move on leaves a lot of work to those spirits. Now that all that destruction you did affects more than just what you can see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Our pack was a pack, and our Phylodox, Hex's Banes. Theurge. She, when we had our weekly team meets, we chatted, and it was a lot of that.
Good.
Keeping a ledger, what's the term she used? Something?
Okay. Chiminage?
That's the one. She apparently said wherever we went, you could spend the GDP of a state trying to fix the affairs of the spirits. And at this point, Izzy begins looking back on his memory, both with and without Charles in the pack, and sours a bit as he realizes that maybe he wasn't as supportive or understanding as he probably needed to be. And as that sourness washes over his face, he pushes it back as he goes, what I'm trying to say, I've heard the complaints from Theurges before, and if you have input on how to ensure that my rending is done to the best possible use with as little affect upon the Umbra as possible. I'm open to suggestion.
The Theurge isn't the only one that can contact and speak to the spirits. It's something we all can do. And I'm sure that the spirits of a certain area would like to hear from the ones who defended it, not just the ones coming to clean it up. So possibly, just an idea. Next area you go into, knocking, bopping things on the head. Come with the Theurge next time. Talk to the spirits left behind. If you make good with the spirits, they'll make good with you. And they've come and helped me in a pinch more times than I can count. Recently, I had a huge favor I had to ask of a lot of spirits to come help us. And with the help of some friends, they came to our aid. If I hadn't had made the effort along with the others to make sure that our relationship with the land and the spirits, you probably wouldn't be talking to us.
Izzy will take his moment to look out the window, watching the lights glitter across the bay. Jason, forgive me if this is a bit too direct. I know we're trying to be chummy, but do you feel supported here?
Yeah, 100%.
Ken, do I believe that?
I would say, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it depends on your definition of support. If you're asking for nation support, absolutely not. But if you're asking about support amongst pack members and Sept members, I think he believes that full-heartedly. I mean,
Okay. Izzy will take a moment to really roll over the simple reply, and almost on jaded principle not believe it, before turning his gaze once more to stare at his fellow Garu and seeing just the matter-of-factness. And again, Izzy feels a pang of self-hatred as he realizes just how easy it is for people to change or feel like the world isn't out to get them. And there's a bit of envy before he pushes it down and goes, okay, well, I mean, I was never really good with spirits, but if you happen to know a Theurge around who can help me when we're chatting, I would really love to know their name.
Yeah, Liza's probably open for that.
Oh, the Stargazer.
No, if it comes down to it, I'd be more than happy to help you. I got a lot more responsibility here than when you saw me beforehand.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, for one, sitting at the main table, that's already a big step up.
There aren't a whole lot of tables right now, but yeah, no, the sentiment's nice. I'm working on becoming the right master. I'm working right underneath Eliza.
No
trying
shit.
to, yeah, it's hard. Kat was the right master back home, and I never even thought that I would get to that point. I always thought it'd be kind of just in the background, just helping.
Yeah. Spirit Keeper, she was a child of Gaia, so I remember chatting with her at a couple of our meets, but I don't know. For me, I only ever spoke with Pursuer Quill.
At the mention of her, he'll kind of shudder a little bit, just kind of reminiscing about them. Yeah, she was something else.
Yeah, she was.
And she didn't take shit from it. She's one of those few people who kind of made you get a backbone, because she wouldn't let you get away with anything, and she'd call you on your bullshit without hesitation. Even in a moot, when elders are speaking, she would call them out and be like, no.
Oh my god, how many times did she bait a challenge basically with that shit? Oh, it was so funny.
And she's always up for it too. She didn't back down.
No.
Getting down here, Jester actually reminds me a lot of her.
I can see that, yeah. Obviously, you know her better than I do, but for the time I've spent, she has that. I don't know what it is. Directness when she needs to. She just knows exactly what to poke you in the chest about.
One of the great things is about them both is they could see the problem, and instead of following a certain path to get to it, they would cut through the bullshit and just want to talk about that point to get that out, and that way you can move on.
Jason, do you mind if I do a bit of a tangent here?
By all means. He'll lean back in the chair.
All right. So, Olivia, this is maybe within 6 months of my first change. I'm brought over from Buffalo. And it was rough getting everything in order for Garu training. I don't know what your personal experience was like. I wasn't around for when you maybe had your first change and was brought to Columbus, but I was under the tutelage of the Fury Woods pack, and they were painful. Taught many lessons very quickly and very bluntly. And one of the lessons was you always listen to your elders. No matter what they say, you gotta follow. And one of the days I managed to bum internet connection off someone at the cairn and saw the message that my dad had died. And I'm telling you this story because you asked me, what would you do, or rather, what was it you said? What would you have done if the nation told you to do something and you wanted to do something else? Well, my trainers said don't leave. The nation, by all rights, said don't leave. You're too young. You don't know how to contain your rage. You don't know this, that. You should just listen to what we say. But I left anyways, and I made it maybe 5 miles before they dragged my ass back and beat me.
Sounds about right.
And as I thought that this is the worst moment in my life, that I would curse the nation for the rest of my life for denying me the chance to even just see my family again when they probably needed me. Olivia came up. I was grounded. And she said, you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be sad. You have a right to hate the people who put you in this position. And that wanting to just chuck the rules wasn't going to change anything. That you needed to know the rules before you could break them. And I was not yet a child of unicorn, but boy did that feel good in my stomach.
She got right to you.
Yeah. She knew what to say to, I don't know, make me do the second stupidest thing in my life, right?
Right.
Anyway,
just gonna say it's a hard realization when you hear that people that you care about, things happen to them, and you have to stay grounded.
Yep.
I get it. When I heard about what happened up there, I also had the reaction to just go up there, and I was gonna solve the problem. I was gonna go up there and figure it out, and I was gonna go and rescue everyone. That's not who I am. I thought I had a plan, but it was actually Jester who met me at the front door here and stopped me from making a deadly mistake. She talked me down. But that feeling doesn't leave, though. Like, I still, there's times I want to go, but there's things that have to be done here. One of the things that Liv told me when I was there is that when your life starts becoming complicated, find consistencies. Find a way to reground yourself. So, a consistent part when I left Columbus was my bar there. So one of the first things I did when I got here is I opened this to have some form of consistency, something that I knew, just to help ground me.
Consistency, huh?
There's a guy comes in here every Thursday named Ronnie. He walks in, he sits at the back of the bar, doesn't say anything. I'll be working and I'll try, and when he first came in, I tried talking to him, but he wouldn't say anything. He would just sit there. And then when the bar would start clearing a little bit, he'd come up to the bar and he'd order 2 Coors and 1 shot of bourbon, the 4 Roses. So we'd get that, he would drink it, wouldn't say a word, and he would just leave. He came in for a few more weeks, then became months. One day I finally got to the point where I wanted to talk to this guy. I wanted to know something about him. He came up, and when he sat down, I already had his drinks ready, had his shot ready. I asked him his name. All he told me, I'm Ronnie. That was it. I tried trying to get more and more out of him. Wouldn't say too much. More weeks went by. Eventually, I find out that he is a truck driver. And one of the few pleasures in life is finding a bar that he feels comfortable in to just come in, get his drinks, and leave. And he's been coming in here for months. That consistency grounds even the most stubborn person that comes in here. Like, he Took me weeks just to get a name from him. For you, just as coming from Pursuer's Quill, just passing on the overall wisdom, I'm thinking you need a new consistency except for that the hate that you're carrying.
Okay. I. Uh, it's honestly amazing what happens when you feel like you start listening for the first time in a long time. Jason, I will honestly say, if there is ever a moot, this is going to be deed worthy.
We do carry them from time to time, but we're, as I said, constantly busy. But the next one, absolutely.
So, consistency. Consistency. I might have an idea or two of what might be consistent. Although I may need a deep dive into this vampire treaty, right?
I don't know if I'm the guy you want to talk to about that, but yeah, probably should.
I mean, you're apparently close enough to their territory, right? You would know the details of where you're allowed, where you're not.
Yeah. Kent, would it be fair to say Jace has a map somewhere stowed away of the city, of the territories?
Yeah, I think so. Especially since he tends to push bounds as much as he possibly can. I think he'd at least want to be very knowledgeable about where those bounds are. So even if it wasn't an official map given to him, I think he probably would have made a copy of the map in the Sept.
Just a second. He'll run to his room in the back. And he'll come out with this large piece of paper, kind of clear off the table and pull it out. All right, so this is Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
We're here.
Okay.
Across this little canal here, that's downtown. So that area itself, that's a no-fly zone. Can't go there.
Got it. So
Then,
everything on this side is okay to...
Kinda. He'll point over towards the university. So there's this spot.
Okay.
Can't go there either. Now, when I say we can't go there, I really mean by the fact that we can't go at night. And if we go into these certain areas, we are having to put on a marker, a nice shiny one, to identify that we are there.
Okay.
I know.
I have to assume the people who wrote this did so with much knowledge and foresight.
Yeah, there was when drawing out the territories, it was a complicated conversation.
Oh, yeah. Leeches tend to be very procedural and underhanded. Granted, most of the time I've spent with them was tearing their heads off, but for the times
Fair.
where I was party to the diplomacy end, particularly up around the Great Lakes, it was stuffy.
Yeah, the ones here are one guy here, just an asshole. Name's Bateman. Dude just sucks. He's a lawyer also, but he's damn good at it.
Wait, isn't your pack leader also a lawyer?
Yeah, and they butt heads a lot.
Do they see each other in the courtroom?
I don't know if it's happened yet. I'm not privy to those kind of things. I think there's like a confidentiality thing about knowing what goes on. Not saying like I wouldn't look into it. Like that would be kind of fun to know.
Well, consider this the loving attention of your local Arun providing you the battle plans for the coming war.
I look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
He'll look at him for a second. You make good with everyone here. And I might let you in on one of the other things going on below the surface.
Ominous. But, okay. Jason, I'm already endeavoring to do right by your pack, by the Sept. And though first impressions last, I'm hoping that the second, third, fourth, and fifth will smooth over that first one.
I'm sure they will. This place is about second chances and sometimes thirds, not fourth. So like that one, you're done at that point.
Wise words.
At this point, you hear the back door open, and in walks a very lanky individual with very pronounced ears sticking out from underneath a skull cap. He's wearing a tank top shirt over what appear to be Jinko jeans, very baggy pants that almost cover his shoes, as Skeeter makes his way in. Oh, hey, boss. And then he sees Isidoro and immediately clams up.
Please, I'm not here. Just, do you want me to leave? I can step out if this is personal business.
Oh, very much are here. I see you right there. That's you.
Izzy will look over to Jason.
It's fine. Just shut the door.
Oh, yeah. He kind of kicks a leg back and just shoves the door shut. Hey, sorry I ain't been around too much lately. The others, they're taking Dodger pretty hard, but figured I wanted to check in with some developments that you might want to be aware of.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys are needing?
Moment, no. I think we're pretty settled. We should start drifting our way back around here at some time or another, as soon as the others start to feel their urge to go out. But and then Skeeter notices the map on the table. Actually, it's very convenient that you got this out. I wanted to talk to you about a little area that I was thinking you might consider to be a gray zone. Not for us, but you remember that? And he kind of paranoid looks over at Izzy and then back at you. Remember that thing you wanted us to do? Kicking a few beehives and the like?
Jason, do you mind if I make a formal introduction here?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
No worries. Listen, I understand. And with this, Izzy will rise up from the plastic chair and walk right up to Skeeter.
Skeeter actually cranes his neck back to take in your full height. You're
Big
a big
ol'
one,
hand.
aren't you?
Oh, they're bigger, trust me. Pleasure. My name's Izzy.
Skeeter, and he puts his hand in yours, and as he shakes it, roll me a wits and investigation.
Ooh. What is my rage currently at?
I'd say you're probably back to a comfortable one. You haven't really had, even if you were a little bit anxious going into this meeting, I wouldn't say it would be bordering on rage. You know him from the past. You share something in common.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uno.
With one success, what you're able to pick up almost instantaneously is the smell. This guy smells worse than you would assume Jace smells. It smells like detritus and maybe a little bit of sewage, and it's a profound odor emanating forth from this individual, but that's enough to distract you from picking up any other details about them.
I think Izzy in this moment squares that Jason is, one, comfortable around him, two, is discussing things related to vampire activity, and is loosely piecing together in his own mind that maybe the Skeeter person is someone on the up and up, and will, in the most generic, like, fishing terms, go, "Oh, Skeeter, pleasure. Hey, you a member of the family, or
Distant cousin.
Depends on the family you're talking about, but he's got the right of it.
Izzy casts a very curious glance at the word cousin.
Well, that's a story for another day. Let's talk about here. And he ends up thudding his finger down on a suburb of Tampa known as Sulphur Springs. Let's just say we made contact. And as a favor to them, I'm asking you and yours to consider this just a gray area in terms of the little arrangement that you have. Let's just say there's a couple of ambitious rebels that are looking to put a dent in the old authority nearby, and it'd probably be for the best that they aren't having to watch their backs for a bunch of, angry Paw Patrol wandering through.
I'll look at the map for a moment. Just Sulphur Springs or some of the surrounding areas as well?
Primarily just that area, just that neighborhood. I'm sure they're probably going to get venturing outward, and I can only speak to that area specifically. This is a favor to them in exchange for a favor later on. You know how we do business. But this area specifically, and he kind of draws a loose finger around an area that borders the Hillsborough River and a little bit north and south of it. This place, just maybe leave it alone. Just don't go intimidating through there. I know it's a big ask, and I wouldn't ask it otherwise if I didn't see some benefit into your assignment in doing so, but this is a favor for a favor if you consider it.
I'll run it up the chain. I don't have that final say, but
Of course not, but your word carries weight more than mine, and I figure if I can lean on you a little bit to use that weight to sway the vote, as it were, on this particular issue, it'd mean a great deal to me and mine, because we would have, a chit to call in later, and that's never a bad thing.
You have a time frame?
For how long?
Yep.
Well, rebellion's tough business, kid. I mean, this isn't a particularly big group that's doing work here, but at least give me 6 months for starters, and then we can check in. And I mean, they're small enough that they might be squashed like a fly on the windshield, but at least this will give them a fighting chance to eke out or maybe do a little bit of damage on their way out.
He'll ponder for a moment, tapping his finger on Sulphur Spring.
I will say,
For...
there's not a lot of assets there. Not a lot that benefits you and yours or anything truly worth fighting for, except maybe the river. But honestly, it's a small section of it. You wouldn't be losing much, is all I'm saying.
As far as negotiations go, you always go a little bit higher than what you're asking. So I'll push for 8 in case it gets pushed back to 6.
You know how to do business, kid, and I appreciate it. It really means a lot. And yeah, I mean, at least it gives them a chance. If they, blow up on takeoff, then that's on them and no harm, no foul. But at least I'm giving them a chance. And what we could potentially get in return could be very beneficial if the need arises. And what's mine is yours, of course, being the distant family that we are. So if you ever need something, I can possibly call in that favor or maybe get myself another one to grease the wheels.
As distant family, I'll try and get this done for Dodger's sake.
That would mean a great deal. I know that, our relationship has primarily been through you, but I think that the higher-ups need to know we didn't have to go. We chose to. This would mean a lot in his memory.
When I have an answer, I'll shoot you a text. Do you still have the same number?
Yeah, for now.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, Hoss. Anything you need from me? Like I said, things are pretty much on the DL at the moment. We're going to be keeping eyes on that neighborhood regardless, just to make sure that our investment isn't going too badly. But for the time being, we're not doing much otherwise.
Right now, we're keeping our head down. That intel you gave on that lost Reverend was good, though. They were able to get him.
Oh, good. I'm glad that all worked out then. Nice to do good work every now and then.
As
Selfless
he was a bit beat
work.
up. Yeah, selfless. We didn't get any benefits at all from that.
Of course not.
None. No. But when I come across something, I'm sure something will come across my desk at some point, and I'll push it to you.
Yeah, just pass it down the chain, and we'll do what we can. Otherwise, I'll pass along your tidings to the others. I'm sure it'd be nice to hear that we haven't been completely forgotten about.
Not at all. I do miss you guys being back here, though there's less broken shit back here all the time now, so.
Yeah, I'm also noticing the distinct lack of a pinball machine. I believe that was a favor owed from a time back.
You're aware better than all the others. Been busy.
Well,
It's not been forgotten. He'll flip over the map a little bit and show a brief blueprint. It's in the works.
And, cousin, new support has arrived for whatever it is we're doing with the spinball machine. Are we stealing it? What is
No. We don't steal. Temporarily apprehend things.
I see.
It's just our turn with it. Like everyone has a turn with everything on this in this place. Just it's gonna be our turn for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't ask for much, and if they don't want us backing up toilets, then, keep us happy.
Exactly. Plumbing's expensive.
Well, sounds good then. Yeah, really, just give them a moment to breathe and not breathe or whatever they do. Just give them a little bit of space, and that'll, like I said, that'll mean the world. And we'll keep eyes on them. We'll take responsibility if they do something problematic for you. We'll try to dissuade that from happening. But just, if you need to, tell them we got it. We watching. We're in the neighborhood. We'll be keeping eyes and ears and tails on this one.
Of course. And Skeeter, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jace. I know things have been rough ever since Piney Point and all, but it's good that it's done. It was good work, and losing Dodger sucked, but there were much worse ways to lose him. And I know that he's out there doing whatever you do beyond the life realm, and yeah,
Knowing him, he's causing all kinds of mischief and chaos, living his best spiritual, extracorporeal life somewhere.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Well, you take care of yourself. You got my number. Let me know if you need anything. Izzy, nice to meet you.
Pleasure, Skeeter. I get the feeling we might be seeing more of each other, huh?
I'm sure at some point. And if you don't see us, just assume we're already there. But
Okay.
good luck settling in. Welcome to Tampa. It fucking blows. And with that, he gives a salute and starts to turn to head back towards the doorway.
As soon as Izzy feels that Skeeter is out of earshot, obviously unaware of any other elements of Skeeter, he'll sort of return to the plastic chair, sit down, stare directly across at Jason and go, "That was the boldest Ghislaine I've ever met."
Yeah, they're a different breed here.
Well, supporters of the Garu Nation, good in my book.
Their support was a heavy fist at the most recent battle we had.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings about Piney Point. I didn't want to pry. It seemed like it was rather brutal, but anyway. Obviously, I came here, made my peace. It seems like we're, at the very least, set for some degree of shenanigan.
Of course, but we can't do it on an empty stomach. So let me show you the kitchen.
Oh, goodness.
A guru within my humble abode eats for free.
Oh, well, it's good, because I don't have any money.
That's the two of you.
Speaking of which,
go ahead.
As the conversation, fades out, the last thing is he goes, "So, do we need to get jobs at this cairn?"
If you're needing one, just let me know. He'll escort him to the kitchen.
As the two of you head off for a meal, I'd like to know what's going on in your heads after this interaction, after this encounter, and especially Izzy with the injection of a completely new and unknown element. But Jace, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Izzy.
Jace is feeling the sense of nostalgia. The seeing someone from his past, thinking everyone from there was dead, and then someone that he brought up a while ago, he doesn't have anyone that he could bounce those ideas off anymore. He only has those memories, and it's one thing to be able to talk about it, it's another to have someone who can experience it. So he is happy and grateful that Isidoro is here because it's someone who he can reminisce with. But he does come with baggage, and trying to sift through all the baggage is going to take time. And some of the baggage he may not want to go through at this moment. But he's also very excited about someone who's willing to do the shenanigans and stuff, and just eagerness to have a job and just go do things. Having a set of muscle that isn't Charles is a nice warm feeling for him right now. And it was really good to see Skeeter.
And Izzy.
For Izzy, it is a night and day difference from when he stepped into that back room. Obviously, showing up at the dive bar was a bit apprehensive because he wasn't sure. Maybe he didn't know Jason as well as he thought he knew him, or maybe he changed to the point where him showing up unannounced might have been a big stickler. But Jason, true to rat, packed up, immediately made him feel like he was at home in the little nesting hole in the back. And a lot of that dread washed away as the conversation proceeded, obviously dredging up a lot of personal issues, baggage, as was stated. Did slow Izzy's gait, but at least until the arrival of Skeeter, he felt like there is a clearer and clearer picture for Entwined Smiles with Claws in a world where he's not on a suicide mission. And then Skeeter appearing, he is still completely in the dark on, unsure what to make of it, but Jason seemed non-perturbed, so as the Auroon, smile, nod, of course, everything's right. And he also, I think, is eager to figure out exactly what sort of shenanigans will be afoot.
Emotional baggage, trauma, is like quicksand. We were all warned as children about the dangers of quicksand, whether it be through TV shows, cartoons, or just silly stories. But it is very, very real. And when that trauma piles up, it starts to pull you down the longer it goes undealt with. You sink and you sink and you think that you're fighting against it, but you're doing so ignorantly, because really what you're doing, pushing it away, pushing it to the back. But you're just forcing yourself to continue to sink. And it's even more difficult sifting through another's emotional baggage when you have plenty of your own. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. See you shortly. St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaboration with our partnered vendors: Chromatic Creations, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Champs Tramps, and Howl and Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetebynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our programs, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling. As we return, we find ourselves at the grand opening of a pizza parlor. Another business endeavor by Jason Dreams and Decay Thorn. Now, it's been a couple of months in the process of getting this all set up, but now it's finally here, the grand opening. And with all of the hype surrounding this place, all of the mystery of new construction, needless to say, the restaurant has a pretty good population at the moment. A good number of people have arrived for this grand opening. And Jace, you have been working yourself tirelessly with your employees and staff, keeping the business going, getting this opening day to be as successful as possible. And by all looks of it, it will be successful, as many of the nearby college kids want to come see what the artisanal pizza is all about, what the offerings are. And with mommy and daddy's money, it's got to go somewhere. But as your opening day finally comes to a close, you find yourself in the back counting out the earnings of the first day, pretty happy with what you're finding as that stack grows taller and taller. Most of the staff has gone home for the night, preparing for yet another day of heavy business the following day, as grand openings are more than just a single day. They're booked solid for weeks at this point. But as you're back there, Jester, you arrive, making your way through, having already let that Jace know that you wanted to chat, and he gave you the instructions and left a door unlocked for you. And you head back to the back office, where you see Jace seated at a desk, counting out money, making notes, doing all of the things a businessman does. The scene is yours.
I'll knock on the door frame. Am I too late for the party, or is there any leftover pizza?
I'm sure there's some sitting in there. Everyone's already gone home, but you'll pat the stack of money. I think I got enough here for another party, though. It was a hell of a grand opening.
Congrats.
Yeah, I knew that college kids could eat a lot, but fuck me. I have to up the orders. I don't think we're gonna have enough flour to make the dough for the pizza.
Wow. That's
Yeah, but
crazy.
please come in. He'll start moving the stacks of money off the table.
I'll come in and find some place in the crowded office to just lean against.
There's actually a nice stack of printer paper boxes that make a reasonable stool and you feel will comfortably support your weight as you sit down upon them.
I'm tired.
How long have you been open today?
We did a nice 10-hour stretch. I'll probably drop it back down to 8, but if it stays like this, especially when all the sports start kicking back up. No, I'm probably gonna stick with 10. I might even have to go 12s, to be completely honest.
Always working to make the money.
Yeah. Well, it's more than just the money. It's the location that it's at. And this money doesn't necessarily just go to me. It's for all of us to be able to use.
I know. Just teasing you.
If you're needing more money, though, I can up it. If you're feeling a
No.
little short, they'll
I'm good.
hold a stack. Like, if you need it, like,
Thanks, Jace. I'm good.
okay.
There's plenty of people in the city that probably need the money.
Yeah, there are. But other than me getting a little greedy over here, what brings you over here?
You know, checking in how you are after, well, Piney Point, and how life's been, other than busy, obviously, and new business.
Piney Point did a number on me, but I think it did a number more on you. I didn't have plants bursting out of my body, so I'm not really one to complain.
Yeah, that was quite a thing.
Are you doing
But-
okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm enjoying being alive, so that's the best outcome of all of that. So, I'm fine. You don't seem to be, though.
Well, like you said, I've been busy,
Mm-hmm.
so might have spread myself a little thin, if that's what you're meaning.
You know it's not. Look, you've been started training with me not long after I was able to get up and train again, and it's cool and all, but I'll just trail off and look at him.
Well, isn't it a good thing to have a few different perspectives on fighting styles? Learning one side can make you, I don't know, like rigid, can make it so you're not as sharp. You need to sharpen both sides, kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Except
And-
we know it's not that completely.
Well, your fighting style is completely different than others. You're more fluid about things.
You
I think
can't
that
even
fits
say his
my.
name, can you?
Try not to.
Why?
Thinking about him puts me back in that place. And I don't like feeling like that. I can't even look him in the eye. All I see is him in that rage, snarling, snipping, biting. There's a part that sits in me that just wants to avoid, and that's got to be the just survival instinct that I have, that anytime put into a dangerous situation, avoid the situation. And that's been my go-to for as long as I can remember. If you can't take it on, get away from it.
So you're afraid of him. I mean,
Yeah. Be stupid not to be scared of Charles Albrecht.
I'm not afraid of him. It was, I don't know what happened. I think I was unconscious during that time, but I understand it sounds, from what you said, very frightening in that moment.
Jess, he had me pinned up against a wall after he had caused such enormous amount of bleeding. Then he proceeded to chase me. And then I was pinned up against a wall. And it wasn't until your voice broke through that he was able to stop and realize what he did. But I did have a conversation with him, and that guy said, no, I was conscious through it. I knew what was happening. That doesn't make me feel better that he knew the entire time what was going on, and it still happened. He apologized and apologized, and words hold little merit to actions that have been pre-assessed from that point. You can be as sorry as you want, but the action still happened.
So if it happens with me or Aspen or Eliza, are you going to feel the same way about us?
You guys didn't give me assurances that it would never happen, and then set yourself up to be on this pedestal that nothing could ever break me. Nothing can chip away at this perfect marble that is a guru that he is. He built himself up to look like he is this embodiment of what everything the nation wanted him to be. And he preached and preached about it. Yes, there are times where he broke through and I was able to get to that little bit of Charles that sits in there. But when you give me assurances and you make these promises that those things will never happen, and then they do, I have a hard time letting go of that. If you did that, I'd have an easier time forgiving you. Also, you're honest with me, I'd say at least 90% of the time. That 10% is probably things I don't need to know at that moment.
But it's never happened. So in his mind, he was telling you the truth. He's never done it before. Has there never been something that you 100% are sure and confident that you are capable of doing because you've never failed before and then suddenly failed at it?
I don't give assurances that I won't fail. I always take the precaution to let people know. I never give certainty to anything. I say, we'll do what we can. I'll look into it. I never give 100% that something's going to happen because there's always an X factor. He didn't. He gave 100% assurance that would never happen to him because he has all the contingencies put in place that he would never lose control.
Okay.
I know that it's something that we all can fall into. I get that, and I understand that it is part of who we are, that sometimes that the rage that sits inside of us gets too much. But when you're on the receiving end of it, It changes the perspective of the words that have been given.
You've been lucky in your past then.
Wouldn't say that.
Really. Never been on the receiving end of a frenzy Ngaru? And the entire time you've been up in Ohio?
No, because I was never really the one that was in the combat. I was always the one standing in the back. So I've seen it. So like I said, it's different when it's happening to you.
It's fair. That is different. But it's something that happens a lot. Are you just going to go around and ignore him?
No. The conversation that I had with him, I told him that if he is in need of a theurge and another one is not around, and it is pertaining to the pack or the Sept, I'd be more than happy to help him. But if he's needing a personal matter, there are others more equipped for those things. So no, I won't avoid him. But the connection I thought was there is severed. Or it didn't exist. Did Charles send you here?
No. Charles hasn't talked to me about anything in weeks. Frankly, it's annoying. As he's cleaning our apartment and making it just spotless.
So he didn't mention that him and I did have a chat about this conversation already?
No.
Well, let me reassure you, we had a conversation. We hashed it out. I told him what I just told you. I would prefer to keep training with you if that is an option.
Sure. But I think you probably should talk out some feelings because I don't think Charles is the root of these feelings. I think you're piling everything onto that incident. Everything you've been through lately that you haven't addressed. Just like Izzy was piling everything he went through onto Charles. And maybe you should talk to somebody about the things you've been through. I can't tell you what to think about what happened. I don't even know really what happened then. I don't even know what happened with myself, honestly. Other than there was a lot of pain and it was really scary. But I do think even if you want to keep things civil, you're creating a rot within our pack, and I don't like that. So maybe go talk to Artie. I'm probably not the best one to talk about because I'll be biased.
I don't know if it's going to help. Talking
So-
about it just makes it feel worse. So if I put my thinking into other avenues, other outlets, it makes its way into the back. And I'm aware of how things pile up and they can come up. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. That is happening. I will try and fix it for the future.
Seriously? Talking about it just makes it feel worse? You've got to be joking me. So, you're just like him. You're just fucking like Charles. You know why he was fucking like that? Because he felt like he needed to be perfect. And he doesn't talk about his shit. At least to a lot of people. Because like you, talking about it makes it feel worse. My God. Fucking men. I swear. Jace, you can't just sit on the death of your pack. You can't just sit on the death of Robbie. You can't just sit on the fear and the betrayal you're feeling about Charles. It festers. And you don't have to start on all of them. You could just pick something and just talk and figure out why you feel that way and what you're feeling about it. And maybe you could figure out how to go through that pain and then put it aside.
I know what the feelings are. For Ravi, I feel like I let him down. I feel shame for that. For my pack, I feel like there's a loss there that I can't fill because I still don't understand how all that happened. Yeah, I've heard the stories on what happened there, but I need the details and I can't get all of them. And with Charles, that connection I talked about wasn't fake. We did have one. And I thought it was really strong. And that's why it hurts so fucking bad. I got him to open up about different things. I've told you about the different things that he's opened up about. And he got me to talk about different things that I usually don't even tell someone that's relatively close. But there is something about him that I know that he could keep secrets. And he wouldn't say a word. There are things that happened in my life that are parallel to what have happened since getting here to Tampa, which make things difficult to work through, because I thought that part was done. But for some reason, my history is coming back in a far worse way and tenfold. And I don't know why. So yes, I sit and dwell on it, not because I want to feel bad. I want to figure out why these things are happening. And I don't want to put that on the rest of you. So yeah, I might have distanced myself a little bit. I might be a little bit more off in my own world. I don't want to be that extra burden on top of you guys because we have enough shit going on. And on top of that, there's a whole nother thing with fucking issue that I'm having to deal with too. So there's a lot that I'm having to process. And yes, I should have talked it out, but that's not how my processing works.
So you're saying the trauma you experienced in your previous life is now rising up because you're experiencing similar situations because you never processed that trauma in the past and never talked to anyone about it, huh?
I don't think I said that.
That's pretty much what you said, man. May not be in so many words, but it's pretty much what you said. And I'm still standing on the you need to talk to someone and start processing that. And I get it. Trust me, there are things that I'm not ready to process in my life. I am trying to get there, but it is hard. But you do need to start with something. Because it's just going to get worse. Our lives aren't good, Jace. Our lives are not going to be happy ever. Most of us don't live for long, and that means the rest of the pack, when that Garu dies, has to deal with that. And we have to deal with all the other shit that comes on, like you said, the shit you're dealing with. And that's on top of whatever emotional things that we have not processed in the past. I'm not gonna dig. Like you, mine's pretty personal, so I'm not gonna dig on yours, but just maybe think maybe the things you're feeling aren't all completely from about Charles, but a multiple of things. And you may want to deal with that. Because, yeah, it was scary, but that could happen to any of us. That situation was fucked. Jace, beyond anything we've ever experienced, that situation was fucked. And he was powerless. And the person he cared about the most was dying. And he was powerless. You know, the one where Arun are supposed to protect the pack, he couldn't do that. And he was in Krynos. And you know how we are when we're in Krynos, that we're not killing something, that rage is building up until we lose it.
I hear you.
Just think about it, man. That's all I'm asking.
So I go and talk to Artie and get this all hashed out. Then Artie has to hear me go on and on about that, and that's going to help. And you're guaranteeing that's going to help.
I can't guarantee it's going to help, but usually in the long run, it tends to help people to, you know, talk to a therapist about things. Artie's actually a pretty good therapist. He has our best interests in heart. There's going to be work. It's not just talking about your feelings. You have to start doing emotional work too. But you got to figure out how you feel about things before you can even start to work on how you want to feel about things. And yeah, you seem like you're there, but trust me, our minds play tricks on us. They bury things that we don't want to admit.
He'll take a moment, tapping his finger on the desk. This this place, and I don't mean here, I mean Tampa in general. It's a hard place to try and survive in. And it'd be even harder with a guru not being 100% honest with you all. So, and you guys deserve that. I will talk with Artie. I'll do all the kumbaya, whatever stuff he wants to do, burn incense and whatnot. I don't even know if he'd do that because who he is would probably be Brab. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't do fucking therapy. So I'm assuming there's incense and there's going to be a couch and bookshelves and he's going to sit there with a clipboard and I'm going to lay down and fall asleep and talk in my sleep. He's going to hypnotize me and do weird stuff.
Yep, that's exactly how it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, just be prepared for that. You know, bring a comfortable pillow so you can lay on the couch on your favorite pillow, and just talk about your past childhood. Yeah.
If you think that there's a chance that it will help, then for you and the Sept, I will do that.
Good. Now,
You know, you're
couch
really annoying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I try to be.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's a
fucking
feature,
cool.
not a bug.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that what you tell yourself?
Yeah, of course. Now you should finish counting your money so we can go, like, you know, spend some of it or celebrate or something your grand opening, because, you know, I ragged on you. Now it's time to go have fun.
Okay. You could buy new parts to that shitty motorcycle you got. He goes and grabs a stack and shoved it in a duffel bag.
That is vintage, thank you.
Uh-huh, that's sure. Whatever you gotta tell yourself.
It is vintage. So go and actually start looking and help cleaning up the parlor.
So you head out, maybe gonna scavenge yourself a snack, assist in the closing up of this new venture. Jace, once again, you're confronted by the quicksand of feelings, but this one isn't going to let you shove it away, isn't going to let you ignore it. But the truth is, other people can't make us work on ourselves. They can guilt us, they can shame us, they can yell at us, they can call us out on our bullshit. But we are the ones that have to listen. We are the ones that have to work. We are the ones who choose to sink. With that, we transition to our final scene of the evening. For the last few weeks, the Sept has been growing larger and larger. There's also been some new developments since the last time this pack met. A new arrival, a homecoming, a tragedy. There are many paths laid out before this pack, some that they don't even know about, like a freight train heading to them while they look the other way. But needless to say, decisions must be made, a course must be set. Piney Point is done, finally. But that doesn't mean the troubles of the Guru, the troubles for Gaia, the troubles for Tampa are over. In fact, some could say they're still just beginning. So as you all arrive at the cairn, an invitation having been sent to Isidoro to meet with the pack and the Sept leadership, why doesn't everybody describe where they are in this moment and where their head's at? Starting with Aspen, then Jester, then Jace, then Izzy.
Aspen is at the table. She tries to be at the table first to make sure she can greet people as they come settle in. She's got a notebook out, but if you look at the notebook, it's just scribbles of nothing, or just trying to put thoughts on paper. Her face is kind of scowled, just looking down, tapping the pen on the table. Dressed pretty normal, more casual, since she's not working, but definitely like there's something on her mind. But as everybody kind of comes in, she warmly smiles and goes back into the leader persona. Her brain is a bit all over the place because coming off of a great win with Piney Point, there was tragedy there as well, but all in all, it went well. It was good, and there was time of quiet and figuring out the future, and then 2 weeks, it all kind of comes crashing down again. And now there's more to do. There's new people. There's people lost. There's what to do next. And it's all meant to be figured out. And it's just the feeling of when's the one more thing again? And how long do we do the one more thing?
Aspen, could you roll me a manipulation and subterfuge as you are trying to obscure your distraction, obscure your emotional state?
Would I still be at a rage 2?
I think that Rage 2 hasn't gone away since. I think that that was enough of a jarring moment that you have just been in a perpetual state of anxiety or frustration ever since.
1.
Okay. So anybody who has a minimum of 4 between their wits and insight can take half to know Aspen's not doing well. If you have less than that, you can attempt to roll it, but I will assume anybody who has more than that can pick up on it pretty easily without having to roll. So let's go on to Jester.
Jester will actually be walking in arm with Eliza. She's currently showing her a video of her latest story that she's recorded for the Silver Record. It's one of the Croatan stories. She's really like more focusing on like trying to get the stories out, but at this point she is kind of looking forward to the pack meeting because they can actually sit down and talk about what to do next. She's kind of felt like she's been keeping busy, but it's more like drifting than actually having some sort of goal to look towards. So she's hoping that like discussions today will figure out like where we're going forward with the Sept or what we need to focus on. She will glance at Aspen and frown at the moment, seeing like kind of her trying to put on airs, but the possible frazzledness of her. And she'll just take note and finish showing Eliza the video before heading to her seat.
Jace will be walking in. He'll be kind of shuffling his feet, looking around the area. Then once he gets up towards the table, he'll see them starting to sit, and then he'll look at Aspen, kind of cock his head, just kind of like motion like, you okay, before he comes and sits down.
For Izzy, he will, upon hearing that a Sept meeting is taking place, put on his best face, sort of center himself, and as people begin to arrive, he will initially stay closest to the entrance in a way that is not too dissimilar from when he first arrived at the cairn, waiting as a guest should for an invitation or direction to sit somewhere else other than sort of standing in the background. As various NPCs come and go, whether they be Terrence or Eliza, he'll have words or a smile or a nod, and as he sees Malicious Jester and Dreams in Decay, a bit more warmth, like a, hey. For Aspen, there is a notable tension and quietness. He is trying to make himself as threatening as possible. And as part of that initial Aspen bluff, I rolled 3 dice. I assumed one of them was a rage. And I got 3 successes. So I think the tension of the moment is just so palpable that even Izzy is able to sort of perceive that Aspen's on edge. And wherever Charles is, Izzy always just happens to have his frame of view just slightly off. He doesn't want to look at him, doesn't want to even acknowledge him. He is trying to, for this moment, make himself as much of a fly on the wall as possible.
So as you're standing there off to the side, Terrence will approach you and give you a look like, really, dude? We're doing this?
You've been around as many Karens as I have, you do not assume. But if you, treasured member of this Sept, wish to invite me to the table, who am I to decline?
Well, wait. That I haven't been made an official member of this Sept yet, other than a friend to the Sept. But secondly, that invitation was to you as well from them. So you're allowed to enter. You have introduced you know how this works. You're just being weird because you're still holding back.
I don't want to curse at you, but I will say you're right. And with that, Izzy will step forward and go and seat himself at one of the guest chairs.
That a boy. Terrence takes the seat next to you. Charles is present, but that's about the best way to describe it. His physical form is present. His mind is clearly elsewhere as he stares at the campfire a few steps away from the table, not taking his seat, but not completely unaware of everyone gathering. Artie is standing behind Aspen's chair, just staying close, not taking his official seat until the very last minute when everyone is gathered. Eliza, smiling, and acknowledges the video from Jester and says, that'll make a good addition, I think. And then
Need some editing.
And then there's Larry, who actually is in attendance. He is still wearing the same biker vest he usually does. And Izzy, you can see that he is wearing it with the Tampa Howlers logo, which shows a connection of sorts to you, having seen that vest when you'd gone to meet with Jace. As everyone takes their place, the meeting begins. Aspen.
Hey everyone. Meeting today. But first off, how is everybody doing?
We're doing.
Good. How are you?
Good. We got a lot to talk about, but
Terrence raises
We're
his
present.
hand.
yes, Terrence.
So I'm going to cut through all the awkwardness here and say it's good to be home. I'm happy to be in Tampa. I'm looking forward to showing Isidoro all around. I think he plans on sticking around for a while, if that's all okay with you. And I'd love to get him settled in the area, if that's okay. I mean, we're both a little tight on money, so finding a place to live and all that kind of stuff would be good. But things are great. It's good to be home. I'm glad I missed that crazy winter you guys had.
That was actually going to be one of my first questions, is your involvement here and how long you planned on staying, and also to you, Isidoro, how long you both were planning on sticking around this area.
I can't speak for Izzy, but as long as he's here, I'm going to be here just to make sure that he doesn't say anything stupid again or offensive.
Oh, okay. You don't have to put me to your hip, okay? You can go and start pursuing your own projects, all right? The elder here needs to step up and needs to make himself known. And with that, Izzy will sort of sit up in his chair as he looks square at Aspen, just full attention, and goes, "Pack leader, it is my intention that unless you plan on booting me out, I will be here for the foreseeable future. Now, I don't know how many of your fellow packmates have made my contacts known to you, but I have been trying to make amends from my initial introduction. And for that, as I've said so many times before, I apologize for the first impression and my intentional attempts to aggravate both you and the Sept as a whole. I hope you can forgive me for that."
I appreciate that. But if you're going to stick around, maybe we could have a longer conversation. We do have a lot to speak about. We've just come off of a rather intense situation, and what to do next is our goal here today. But if you are sticking around and wanting to, I guess, put your best foot forward, what are your skill sets? What could you bring to the Sept and the pack as a whole?
God. Well, considering that Charles didn't say anything about me, I am, well, you obviously already know my auspice. I'm an Arun. So, fists, claws, teeth, I'm good at that. If you need someone to be a good face amongst particularly humans, I'm also pretty good at that. People love me. Gifted unicorns specifically. I can just fit into a place if you need to make a good first impression. Past that, I mean, team building exercises, I did not want to pry or impose myself in your interpack dynamics, but I'm good at leadership building. I'm good at teamwork and trust exercises. I'm not sure how often you train in that particular front weekly, but I am happy to lend my expertise. For things related to the fight for the survival of Gaia, I have a little bit of experience here and there with like computers and stuff, just stuff I've had to learn. But if you need someone who can repair vehicles, who can drive, I have been, even when Charles was the Piercing Moonrise pack leader, I was the main driver. So if you happen to be in something dicey, I'm pretty good at tailing. Past that, I mean, as part of my branching out from just killing things, I've taken a minor interest in physical wellness. So, I mean, I haven't taken the test, but I've trained in first aid. I'm able to identify types of wounds and trauma, but I'm not a nurse or a doctor. I hope that more or less answers your questions and curiosity.
Artie speaks up and says, I could probably use some assistance in buffing out some dents in Regina, so...
Sure. What tools you got?
Huh.
I can get some tools.
Okay.
Look to Artie. You put dents in Regina?
Artie looks towards Aspen and then back. She's fine. But it's, yeah.
Regina enjoys battle scars, so we can't buff them all out.
Smitty marks.
Speaking of battle scars, if I may. My Sept utility is limited. Our runes are more or less expected to kill things. However, I do have a number of rights related to celebration. I'm not certain who occupies what particular positions specifically when it comes time to the celebrations at Moots, but if you need some battle scars, recognized, or just accomplishments in general, from me to you, I will invoke those rights.
Perfect. That's great. And as far as housing, she'll look over at Terrence as well. I could make sure that you are set up somewhere until you make yourself comfortable here and find your own way. But until then, I can make sure that you guys have a comfortable place to stay.
That is very kind of you.
Yeah, motel room would be good. Just for a few days. I think we'll find our feet. I know some places around here with cheap rent still, and you know, I've figured it out before. I'll figure it out again, but thank you, Aspen. That'd be really nice.
No, Terrence, I'm going to get you into a housing for at least 3 months while you get comfortable.
All right. And he's just sort of smiles sheepishly.
I was a bit worried, and I'll be very blunt. I asked Jason this question when I visited him at his dive bar. I was unaware of the financial stability of this cairn. Obviously, not exactly in touch with the nation. I was perfectly accepting that I would have to get local employment. Is that still a requirement? The curse makes dealing with jobs difficult, especially for our rune, where Luna smiles upon us so boldly.
Well, Artie speaks up and says, "You're going to want to get a job, otherwise you're going to be Eliza's bitch, and that is a tough state of being." And Eliza just swats him playfully.
Izzy laughs, not knowing whether to take that as a joke or as a warning.
Eliza will make sure that all hands are kept busy if they're going to be idle. So at least focus on something you may want to accomplish or do, or just a project you want to work on.
It'll be the first thing on my mind.
Unless you like gardening and strong smells, Artie chimes in at the end.
But if you would prefer to be more within the cairn, we've had others make a nice cozy home here. So if that's more your style, the Sept does have enough funds that it's not a requirement, but I mean, to be integrated if you're planning on staying for long periods of time, it's always a good option.
Terrence chimes in. He's going to get a job. The best way to serve Unicorn is to have one foot in the human world and one in the Guru world. We're the bridge between them to serve our patrons. So I'm also going to be looking for some employment, maybe a photography studio or something like that.
Izzy just gives a shrug of, well, there you have it.
Well, Terrence has spoken. So I guess if you're going to be sticking around for a while, I'm not sure how much you know about the Sept and our accomplishments and or otherwise, but there's a lot to talk about today, so if you need us to slow down, just let me know.
I've been taking as many mental notes as I can. I'm not the most studious Garu, but between Melissa's Jester, Dreams and Decay, and obviously Terrence here, I've pieced together a little bit, though if I do have any follow-up questions, I will take your permission with much liberty.
Perfect. Then first things first, let's have a conversation about Piney Point and its aftermath and make sure that all of that is being taken care of.
Izzy immediately raises a finger.
Yes.
So what is Piney Point?
She'll look over to Jester.
Jester will just nod. So Piney Point was a facility that was used. Do you know who Pentex is?
I assume so. Kent.
Yeah.
Nod.
It was used by a couple of Pentex subsidiaries throughout the years. One most recent was more of a fertilizer plant. So really it was some weird shit, okay? Like really, really weird shit.
That sounds like Pentex. Just
It wasn't just Pentex though. Like, yes, there were Fomori, and I think the woman that was there was a Fomori. I'm not really sure because I didn't actually have to deal with her. But she was working with a fairy, and the fairy was growing these weird plants. And
I'm
these
sorry,
weird
a
plants,
fairy.
yes, like I said, really weird shit. Fairies are real, apparently.
Okay.
Well, technically not like a fairy wings Tinkerbell, but like a fae. Fae are real.
Okay.
This one had furry legs and horns, like I guess a satyr does from Greek mythology, but he was a fairy. I don't really understand a lot of it, the intricacies of like them, but it was using magic to create this plant disease that infected people and turned them into fungus zombies. And that infection was spreading throughout the city, and
Cold
Piney,
iron.
yep,
Yeah, I did hear something weird about that when I visited up in West Virginia. They mentioned you needed a lot of it, and they said it was like for some infection and getting sick thing. Which
that was some of the things we used the cold iron for. It also destroyed the plants, because apparently fairies are allergic to cold iron like we're allergic to silver, kind of. And the plant magic was also reacting to it. Anyway, we stormed Piney Point. We were able to get enough iron and killed Vanessa, which was the woman who I think she was a Fomori. I'm not really sure on her. Anyways, killed her because she was spearheading like a lot of the business stuff. Like our secondary group, the Hellhounds, managed to deal with her, and then we dealt with this satyr fairy creature. And once he died, most of his magic over the plants dissipated and disappeared, sort of.
mission accomplished.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Okay, good job.
Terrence seems utterly fascinated and actually is taking notes on everything that's being said, although you can see in his eyes, as he's in no way masking it, the idea of plants being turned against people and Guru seems to be bothering him to some degree, but he is noting it all.
But all that to be said, that we have to make sure that the cleanup on the Umbra side, and she's going to look over to Jace and Eliza, and physical realm is well taken care of either by us or by someone on this side to help out with that, because we don't want to just leave it now that it's a crumbled mess.
Eliza, go ahead.
Izzy will immediately just pipe in and go, I assume this place was chock full of Banes?
Eliza speaks up and says, the cleanup effort's well underway and probably almost done, to be honest. As soon as Jester was capable, she was escorting Jace and myself out there to do the rite of abjuration, the cleansing rite, to ensure that if there were any leftover elements, that they were purged from the soil and the land. And honestly, I'm surprised at how much Gaia took care of herself in that regard. She seemed to re-envelop the entire facility, and Jester wrote a very nice article about the whole endeavor, covering up the mess for the unknowing of it all. But I believe for the most part, aside from the previous natural disasters or chemical leaks that had plagued the area, it's all well and taken care of, I think.
Well, I was going to offer protection if need be, but if everything's under control, good to hear. Another win for Gaia.
Well, your protection's going to be very much needed. I assure you of that. If you stay here long enough.
It's good to be needed.
Yeah, in the article I wrote, I was kind of pushing for, people to help with at least the physical cleanup efforts. I'm also thinking of checking to see if there's any fundraisers that have started. If not, maybe pushing to start some fundraisers with some of the activist groups I know to try to get some cleanup effort done at the site.
Might be a good idea to have our sheepwolf help with that and look over at Charles.
Charles remains stoic for a moment. That might be a bit of a problem. Forged and Juniper are likely heading up to Michigan to handle a personal matter and will be unavailable for some time.
Just the two of them?
Yes. As the matter is personal and the state of Michigan is currently unknown, we didn't want to send more than necessary into a potential death trap, but they were insistent upon going, so who's to stop them? And who would want to deal with the aftermath of trying to stop them?
Right. And I'm sure they're well aware of the danger of going up there after everything that's happened.
Artie actually speaks up. Yeah, I've got a meeting with Juniper to do some reconnaissance before they head up there. They're being smart about it for the most part, other than the stupidity of going at all. They're doing their due diligence. They're not rushing headlong into danger.
Okay. And look back over to Charles. And what of the rest of the Hellhounds and the new arrivals? Is everything working copacetically there?
So far, it seems so. Willow and Quinn are getting settled. Willow primarily sticking to this area, Quinn having taken up residence in their home. Delphine is staying back and doing what a good pack leader should and making sure they get settled and accustomed, and I have some ideas for training for them to see just how capable they are. So far, they have proven quite capable, but I think we may have to revisit an old training method to see just how capable they are.
Izzy's jaw sets as Charles speaks on training methods, but remains silent.
Okay. Then good. Glad they're settling in nicely.
Eliza says, and I'll take care of Raymond. You don't have anything to worry about that.
Okay. Well, good. Then Piney Point being taken care of. Jester, you're going to try and figure some of that stuff out.
Yep.
Okay. Then that seems to be well taken care of then. And we'll just keep an eye on it, make sure nothing else pops up there because that likes to happen apparently over there. Anyways, we do have a couple.
Says one more thing. I've been tracking the company, and it looks like they're doing what Pentex does and just cutting ties and wrapping up shop. Pretty much all evidence of their existence has been evaporating and going into the wind. So I think Pentex is pulling out.
For now. Anyways, we have some other stuff we have to talk about. As far as the leech situation goes, territory, the treaty is still underway. I think it's pertinent for us to have some patrols on the outsides just to make sure that others are not Jace.
Little thing about the territories. I was having a conversation with Izzy, and Skeeter came by. He is wanting to set up a gray area. It's an area called Sulphur Springs. There apparently are some leeches that are wanting to cause a little bit of a uproar with the current establishment in Tampa. Skeeter came to me to try and get us to let them do their thing so they can upset the leeches. I told him that I can't make that call as far as giving up. That section falls under an area that we have. I told him I would bring it up.
For what purpose?
He is saying that it's a favor for a favor. They're going to try and rile up, just kind of be a thorn in the side of the leeches. And because they don't want to talk to us directly, Skeeter apparently knows them. But Skeeter then came to me asking if we'd be okay for an 8-month stead of that area, just Sulphur Spring itself being just kind of an area where they can operate.
Okay. My thoughts on this are a little split. I think that we owe the Ratkin for what they've done and what they've lost. So if it's a favor for them, in that case, I think it would be pertinent, and having the leeches have something else to look at while we figure some other things out does put that a little bit on, not the back burner, but it does, if we have other things to do, then we don't have to watch our backs so closely. I still think it's pertinent to do so, but they'll have other things to do as well. So we're not the full eye of their ire. But I also don't like the idea of giving more territory away to people if we don't have to. So I will leave this one open for discussion.
Izzy will sort of sit up and go, Aspen, granted, I'm not a member of this Sept officially yet, but I am in our room. And if you are willing to hear my wisdom, I can instruct you on the ways of war, should you be expecting the advice.
It's an open discussion, so whoever has something to say, I'm open to hearing it.
Thank you.
Terrence speaks up. I mean, as the local boy, or one of them, and he looks to Artie with a smile. Sulphur Springs is just kind of a drive-through area. It's not overly pertinent or important. It is nestled up against the Hillsborough River, so there is that to consider. But overall, I mean this in the best way. No big loss. All things considered, there's not a lot of important resources in that area. It's not too big of a deal. Be easy to miss or not miss, I guess, in this case. Artie says there's also ways we can keep eyes on that area without having to be there. There's ways to patrol it digitally and electronically without actually having to step foot physically in the area. I can keep eyes on them pretty easily from afar and not have to ruffle any feathers. And if any, I'll just set a reminder for any news reports regarding that area to be pinned or flagged.
So, yeah, what is the gray area mean? Does it mean we're not supposed to go in like the rest of the treaty for this favor?
From my understanding, we're just not supposed to go in and just kind of like push them around and like It's more not to scare them out. The way I see it, Skeeter said that he would take full responsibility for anything they do. This is
Okay.
another place that leeches are sitting that we are now made aware of and not stumbling across. And Skeeter hasn't given us a reason not to trust him. And Skeeter's going to give us intel on what's going on. Artie's going to be able to see what's going on. So at this, we have full eyes on almost everything that's going to be going on there. We just can't ruffle the area. Is kind of what Skeeter was saying. He doesn't want us scaring these guys out.
Charles says, strategically, anything that sows dissent amongst the leeches is a benefit. We keep our hands clean. Their tower continues to crumble. I do see the wisdom in it.
I would agree. This neighborhood, Aspen, I assume this is maybe the first you've necessarily heard of it spoken specifically in regards to this treaty, right?
It's not been on our radar before, no.
Then it sounds to me like it's not too valuable of a locale. Easy enough to fork over for the eternal gratitude of these up-and-coming leeches. And if they're in a gray zone where we're not obligated to strike them down by this treaty we have with this this main leech faction, that's all the better for us. And worst case scenario, if they do make a big enough stink and claw and fury is demanded, we can just head down there. In fact, I'll probably do it myself if you ask me to.
Us. Interesting verbiage, Isidoro. She'll look over to Jester.
There may not be physical resources, but there are people there. People who can't fight against vampires.
Can broker an additional part of the deal if need be. Because we have control over this. Like, if we don't want them there, we can just go take care of the problem. We can try and broker a deal about their feeding and how they need to get their sustenance elsewhere.
Artie says, if we're going to put a bunch of demands on them, we might as well wipe them out. I think from what you've said, the Ratkin are going on discretion, and that it's not openly known that we're going to know about them. But if they do find out that we do know and that we do have demands, they'll either go to ground or likely do it anyway until we catch them. So I completely agree with what you're saying, Jester, and I have just as much issue with it. At the same time, it's going to happen whether we like it or not, and it is happening already. At least this we'll know about, and if something does come up, like a murder in that neighborhood, I'm going to be knowing about it immediately. And that is potentially enough cause to do something about it.
Or an underground group of people that are held hostage to be food for leeches.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as we keep an eye on it.
Eyes, ears, and toes.
Okay.
Toes.
You got to keep your toes in the dirt with your head in the clouds.
Okay.
I heard that from Eliza at some point.
Okay.
Then perfect. Jace, you can let them know that we will keep this them issue, but me personally, I would like, I'd say, quarterly information exchange between us and the Ratkin. If they are in Tampa, then we want to know that things are on the up and up. So any information that they have is information that we can use if it becomes a problem.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm sure he'd also love to hear from you at some point.
We can make that happen.
Okay.
And just let them know if we do find any indiscretion or problem, we will be respectful enough to let them know before we make any moves, so they're aware.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
Also, speaking of the Farah in town, I did talk to Suni about her interesting situation at Piney Point. She is Nuisha, or her friend is a yes, Isidoro.
A what?
Coyote folk. They're Farah in the city.
Izzy waits for the joke to finish and sees everyone else is serious before. Okay.
Speaking of which, Jester is kind of our emissary between the Farah and the Guru here. So I wanted to let you know, Jester, and you can give Isidoro some more information, but I want to have a exchange between you and Suni, just so you can properly meet and speak together, so you know. And she seems very much wanting to be helpful in the situation that we have here. I don't see any malice of hers. Her friend is much more quiet. I've not met him yet either, except for the quick situation within Piney Point, but we exchanged no words, so.
That's
You're a bit occupied.
Fighting a pterodactyl, yes.
Okay, now you're just fucking with me.
No, I had 2 heads.
Okay.
Eliza looks empathetically towards Isidoro and his struggle to comprehend all of this.
I know I'm the Arun. You're going to bait me with these fantastical creatures that, once in a lifetime opportunity to kill. I've been there.
I assure you, it's all too real, and stick around long enough and you'll have your opportunity to fight some fantastical things, I have no doubt about it. But there are Farah being drawn to this place. You've heard of the Ratkin and now the Nuisha, but there are others around as well.
Wait, I'm sorry. When you said Ratkin, I assumed that they were Ghislaine of the Bonars.
No, were-rats.
Like Skeeter. Izzy replays a bunch of things in his mind. Huh. So
You'd say they were a
Skeeter
different
was...
breed. Yep.
Okay. I was going to say he was a Bonar until you said he was a cousin, and now you're saying he's a were-rat?
Well, they bear a similar patron. Actually, the exact same patron, Eliza says. So, in a way, they are related through spirit, and so far they have been not even the slightest bit problematic, if anything, beneficial. Add to that the Kamazats, which I'm sure you've heard about by now, and then, well, a friend called She Who Shines, who, as long as you stay on this side of the bridge, should not be a problem for you.
Okay.
A were-gator.
she's a were-gator.
For the first time since the big storm off, Izzy finds his gaze cast to Charles. With talks of pterodactyls and were-rats and now were-gators, it's like, what the fuck is this place, man?
His scowl is so deep at this point that it's casting lines in his face. You can see that he is so annoyed at the mention of these fantastical creatures. But he gives you a look of, it's true, and coming from Charles, that means something, of acknowledgement.
Izzy immediately slinks back in his chair and is, at least in this moment, far more receptive to this strange chatter of Farah and two-headed pterodactyl banes and whatever else.
Regardless, we have very solid reason to believe that the opening of the cairn you're standing in right now called to the other Pharaoh because of the relations of the Croatan to the other Pharaoh and their previous ties before all went to shit with the War of Rage.
Okay.
Any longer standing questions that you may have, Isidoro, we can have a private discussion and you can pick my brain about all of the strange things here in Tampa because it is strange.
You're saying that to me. Yes, thank you, Aspen Weiss. I will take your wisdom with much bravado. It seems there's much I don't know, and a lot of the rumors I heard about this place might be seething with avarice. Some of the stuff apparently you're banning to unearth here. I can see why the nation is jealous.
Jealous or thinking that we're, well, and she looks at Eliza, batshit crazy. That's up for interpretation.
Kind of,
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Izzy will give a nudge for Jason.
Branching off of the Aaron and all the things happening here. As far as bringing that patron back, it's not going to be as easy as we thought. So, well, initially was brought up once we had taken care of Piney Point. That was not easy in itself. That we'd be able to get aid in order to go to the Dreaming and bring them out. But I've been told that the only way to make that happen is to release Ishu from the staff. And it's not as easy as me just burning or breaking the staff. It has to be done in a way where the powers that lie within it isn't just out in the wind. It needs to be able to be contained and funneled into something.
I'll look to Izzy. Ishu is a fairy god, apparently, or a fae god, as Aspen said. Yep, bound in
A
a
god.
staff. Bound in a staff. Yep.
And
Welcome to Tampa.
You are using these terms. We are just to be certain here. We are Garu. We know what spirits are. You're saying they are not spirits?
I don't know, honestly.
No, they're different entities altogether. Ishu was able to possess a body before he possessed mine. We'll talk about that later. But Ishu saying that I need to find the person that created the staff. So I did track down Moses. I've been having conversations with him, trying to bridge. His mind is stuck in the past. He still thinks, I think he said it's like 1986. So I'm trying to get him to understand what year we're in. And I got to get him to a point where he can understand the staff in order to dismantle it so Ishu can be released so we can go into the Dreaming.
Okay.
I know that's a lot. I'm sorry.
Was that the favor you were gonna maybe ask me about?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay. Well, no more comments from me.
So, if I remember correctly, Moses was last time, well, before this, the last time you talked to him, he was not remembering who he was really or where he was.
Correct.
So, how is he now?
Receptive to the talks. He told me that he doesn't remember me at all, but he feels a sense of comfortability with me. So there's something in there that tells him that he knows me, but he just doesn't, he can't access it yet. So I'm spending as much time that I have trying to draw out that piece and bridge 40 years of life for him.
Aspen will furrow her brow, look over towards Eliza, and look back at Jace. What if there was, because dreaming, right? You saw Ishu in dreams and all of
Right.
that, and Moses is connected to that as well. Is there a way
Right.
that maybe you could connect the two? Is that, I don't know. The face stuff is weird, so I'm just going with the weird thing that popped to my head to maybe throw something out.
I can try, but I got to be careful with the things that I tell Moses. I got to keep up this whole the veil and everything. So I got to be careful on what I disclose and what I keep to myself. And at this point, I can't give him much of anything. And trying to reach out to Ishu to try and bridge that gap, I feel like it's going to scare him off more than anything. Like, we're not at that point yet.
Do you have any other potential ideas?
He was saying that he had connections in other parts of Florida. So I'm trying to dig around from places that he might have been, but it's hard. And it's because he doesn't remember anything that happened previous or what happened in that gap. I'm having a hard time finding a point to jump off of to chase down this rabbit hole. And the talks that we have are great, but it's more just talking about the present and everything like that. So I'm a bit of a, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jason. You're saying you're having difficulty with this Moses person,
Right.
and you're having difficulty pinning down maybe what their circle or social life might have looked like 40 years ago?
Correct.
I'm not one to normally tell other auspices how to do their job, but have you talked to like a spirit of the city or something?
It's a newer thing that I can do, and haven't really done a whole lot of talking to him, but that is a good point. They were the spirits were able to point me to where he's at currently. Yeah, I'll see if I can trace the steps back as far as the spirits are aware.
I mean, assuming he's been in the area, like, spirits look at you like it's been 1 day or 100 years, no matter what. So
You're not wrong.
glad I could help.
Eliza says, from what I understand, Moses was at one time a student of the arcane arts, a studier of the weave. He gives a look towards Izzy like, yep, it's another thing.
I've heard of these before. They're called namers. Paulo told me about them because we had to kill one.
Well, good. Well, he was a student, from the sounds of it, from what Jace had relayed to me, and he dug a little bit deeper into the weave than he should have. Now, this requires great amounts of power and energy, and really, if the weave is suddenly set free in a chaotic fashion, it could upend reality as we know it. Now, even I have some skepticism as to the truth of that, but regardless, a caution as such from a fey god, as you put it, is not to be ignored. And if they say that such energies could dismantle everything we know, that's something we can't toy with. But I believe that if Jace were to work with Moses, possibly even use what memories Moses has to retrace his steps, perhaps there might be assistance to be found in restoring his memory and properly dismantling this talisman or item of sorts that has trapped Ishu.
So he's Gale from Baldur's Gate?
I suppose so, yes. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Jester will take her notebook out and just write something down.
And so once we do that, then we'll have the super easy task of just walking the Silver Road and releasing Turtle.
What can we help with? Because I know that you made a promise. And it's hard to keep these promises, but I would like to try if we can.
Actually, I may have an idea, Eliza says. Perhaps this would be a good use of our new resident services. I believe Jace and Isidoro could go to, was it Orlando, Jace?
Yeah, that sounds right. I knew it was someplace in Florida, but yeah, no, it was Orlando.
If they were to take Moses to Orlando, perhaps that'll stir up a memory, and if he can find his circle, coven, I'm not entirely sure what they call themselves, if he were to find them, perhaps they could be of some assistance, although they will be quite wary of the changing breeds. But if you have one of theirs in tow that seems relatively uninjured, maybe they will take kindly to that.
Yeah.
I'd just like to be clear. You're suggesting that Jace go to a bunch of other arcane users and take Moses, and hopefully that would do something.
As far as I can tell in Moses' current state, he's going to be very little help in the removal of this if he can't even remember it happening. So to unweave such a magnificently powerful device or item would take a great deal of vast knowledge. And from what the story was that Jace had passed along, he was at the foot of someone called the Librarian in Orlando. Now, if I had to guess, they don't work in the same way anything else does. If they can manifest reality in the weave, it could be quite possible that despite the 40 years that have passed, this librarian could still be there. It's no guarantees, but I think it's the best lead we have based off of the information that was given.
She'll look over at Jace. Do you think that's smart?
He'll look to Eliza, then over to Izzy. I think it'll be all right. I think Izzy could probably handle a couple little wizards.
As long as I get the drop on them, I think we'll be okay.
And hopefully that won't have to be the case, but I think overall it should be okay. I like the idea, taking him back to the source of where he learned these things. It's more than I can do here.
From what I can tell, in what little I've learned about them, the Manifestors of the Weave are more about academic studying the Weave. They are not necessarily a violent sort, but they are also a very reclusive sort, and they may wish not to reveal themselves, which is why I think taking Moses would be the best course of action, because if they can recognize a connection with one of their very own and realize that they have a wielder of the arcane who has forgotten 40 years and potentially is reckless and loose, that might be enough to draw their attention.
Okay.
Besides, who doesn't want to go to the happiest place on Earth? While you're in the area, at least.
We'll see.
Okay, then if that's the thread, the only thread to pull, then I guess that's the thread that must be pulled. So that looks like the best possible option. So Jace and Isidoro, I would make some plans, find Moses, and hope that he's willing as well, and get that started, because I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel like Turtle and the promise you made are top priority at the moment. Although there are other things here that are going to make that a bit more difficult.
I have one final question. Obviously, I will accept this mission with honor and duty. As a child of Gaia, my directions from Unicorn are to seek healing, which, Jason, you appear to care about this Moses very much, and I will do everything in my power to ensure that we succeed. But more locally, this Hellhounds pack, I assume they're a subservient pack. Would it be permissible for me to interact with them?
They are of your tribe. I would say casual interaction shouldn't be a problem. You're all within the Sept.
I just don't want to make it seem like I'm poaching Garu or breaking custom is all. Thank you. I will keep that in mind, Aspen Weiss.
Charles
I
speaks up
could-
again. Oh, go ahead. Finish.
Look over to Isidoro. Actually, as warder, Charles has most of that handled, don't you, Charles?
Yes. He looks towards Isidoro with the most professional, business-like manner, no emotion breaking through the mask. Quinn Kelly, one of the children of Gaia, is from the Old Nation, in fact, from the Sept of the North Country.
No shit.
Yes. They will. You'll have a lot in common with them. And I think that that would be for the best that you did make inroads with them. They seem to have been surprised, just like you are, about the state of things here. So maybe that's something that you can use to bond with them. But I think it is a good idea.
And that works perfectly for me.
Eliza speaks up, looking over towards Aspen. You said there were other things to be concerned about locally. To what are
Yes.
you referring?
The Cult of Fenris is back. And they seem to be bigger and stronger than they were when they were here previously.
Have they created a disturbance or a problem?
I've recently found another of ours within the city, and while searching for them, I interacted with Fenris, the Cult of Fenris, and they are vicious. And of course, it's Fenris, but they are vicious, and they are steadfast in whatever goal they have here, and they are willing to. She pauses for a long moment, tear apart anything that gets in their way.
Eliza
want me to look
sits
into it?
back. Oh, go ahead.
Before I go, do you want me to look into any of it? Find out where their whereabouts are?
I think this should be a priority for you, this turtle situation needs to be the priority for you. And I don't want you to have to waver because of that. We have others, and she'll look over at Jester and Charles, that could look into that if we find it necessary. But it is very prudent that we keep vigilant, because I don't know what they're planning, and I don't know what our involvement could do to interrupt, become a roadblock, or become a fun walk on their goals.
Aspen Weiss, can you answer 2 questions for me? One, can you describe these Cult of Fenris members? And 2, is this your permission as Phylodox to attack them on sight, considering they violated this territory?
At this time, I think also, Isidoro, if you're going to be working with Jace, with Moses, that should be your top priority as well.
Very well.
I don't want to poke the proverbial bear right now. We have so much on our plate and a lot of promises to keep. But as far as description, she'll look over at Jester and roll her eyes, but then also get like really stern and kind of look off for a moment before she comes back. Kyle and Victoria were the 2 that I interacted with the most.
At the mention of Kyle, Terrence has a visible reaction, kind of looking up from his notepad where he's been keeping notes. Still here?
Came back.
You know him, Terrence?
From what Aiden had informed me, they were a plant to try and recruit me before my change.
No shit.
We were college roommates. We volunteered at the zoo together. He was always a little bit unusual, a little bit eager, but I mean, it's college, right? But yeah, apparently he was also a kinseeker and was looking to kinseek me. He is dangerous. You know, you get a sense about somebody that they're not someone you want to cross. That's the sense I got of him. And that's why I stayed on his good side, and it seemed to work just fine. But yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
I'd like to scan the table, really, starting with Aspen, but also focusing on Artie and Eliza and Terrence. I want to get for them 4, I'd want everybody, but those 4 especially. I'm vibe checking, basically.
Sure. Roll me a wits and insight.
What's my rage at?
Why don't we say it's a 2 with the mention of the return of Fenris and Kyle specifically, and
Victoria?
And Victoria, who you had intimate contact with in not a good way.
I'm gonna spend a willpower. I got 4 successes.
Okay, so obviously Aspen's been showing her feelings on it for the most part, other than she's distraught or distressed by it. Artie looks irritated and a little bit annoyed at the mention of Fenris, but also seems to be primarily focused on paying attention to Aspen and her state. Eliza's smile has vanished, and a lot of the light that she normally brings to these conversations has dissipated. And she seems lost in thought. Terrence looks nervous hearing the name Kyle, but otherwise doesn't seem to have any other personal stake in it.
Okay. I'll just note it and just look back to Aspen. Charles and I can start patrolling and seeking out spots they'd likely set up camp.
Just patrolling for now. Again, we don't need to start a fight right this moment with Moses and Turtle and everything else. Apparently new people in the territory, and it just starting a fight right now, especially if Jace and Isidoro are leaving, would be disadvantageous.
I mean, to be honest, it sounds like they started a fight, but I get what you're saying and not pushing things.
Eliza breaks her silence, speaking with what sounds like a really dry throat. Do you consider them a considerable threat, Aspen?
I do.
Would you say they are a high priority to be dealt with?
She pauses for a long period of time, just kind of stares at the table, taps her pen again. I don't think it's something we can ignore.
She just gives a slow nod. All right.
Patrolling would be useful. At least maybe if we could figure out something, a reason why they're back. Just so we know what we're working with.
Charles says, at the very least, I'll make sure that they don't come even remotely close to the cairn. But I do think your buddy system is now very much necessary going forward.
I agree. Isidoro, we have a system where we always go in pairs, just in case anything were to happen. And I think it's logical. You've heard all the insane situations we've dealt with. It's just
Some
smart.
of them. Enough of them.
But to that point, Jason Isidoro, make sure once you figure out the Moses situation, Jason, let me know and move towards whatever direction you think is the right one to get this started. Jester and Charles, just keep an eye on Fenris. And if they seem like they're getting too close here, I won't stop you.
I'd hope you wouldn't, Charles says in response, but nods his head.
And to everything else, I guess we see what happens. She looks over to Jester for a moment. I'm going to be talking to Shannon. She's getting settled and get more information on getting Mia to a safer space.
Okay. I'd like to talk to Mia soonish just to get a feel, really, for what she knows and what's going on in her head.
I think that's smart. But to that, does anyone else have any other business they'd like to bring to the table?
Think I covered all my stuff. Oh, my new pizza parlor opened. So
Do I
there's
get
that
free
too.
pizza there?
You do. You get free
Yes.
pizza.
Oh boy.
She'll look over to Artie. Date night. It's free.
Can't be free. With that, the meeting comes to a close, and so too does tonight's story. But not without a few final scenes. Our first scene takes us to a trailer park on the outskirts of the city. Here we find Kyle and Victoria standing in front of Plato, formerly known as Brandon, heads bowed to the elder guru in front of them. Kyle says he didn't change. Instead, he died. Plato shakes his head slowly and says, well, I guess it just wasn't his time. And then as we pan out, we see 20 other individuals standing nearby, all watching with predatory gazes, a feral look in their eyes. We cut then to a mansion up in Vermont. Except there's something different about this mansion. Because previously it seemed run down, worse for wear, untended to. But in this instance, it is pristine. And individuals move their way across the grounds, tending to the duties responsible of the Sept. And that's when we hear a heavy smack. And we see a child, maybe 10 years old, silvery blonde hair, go dropping to the ground, blood spattering across the ground. And we hear a voice. What is your oath, child? To Gaia? To Falcon? To the nation? Again. To Gaia? To the Falcon? To the nation? Good. Get up. Training continues. And young Charles reaches for a rattan stick at his side and stands up, facing a younger looking Iron Oath. His hair is still also very silver, but his face doesn't bear as many wrinkles or cares. The words to Gaia, to the Falcon, to the nation echo as the image blurs and we see a campfire with the much older, much more present time Iron Oath sitting beside it, stabbing a stick into the fire. And he says, I will ensure you upkeep your oath, Charles Albrecht. And then in our final scene, it is the cairn, late at night. The fire has died down. Everyone has gone to sleep, except for one elderly stargazer, who with the spirit of a bird perched upon her arm says, Brandon, I know what you want. And if it means you leaving this place for good, I'll give it to you. And she throws her arm up and the bird flies off of her arm, off into the distance. And that is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Boy, oh boy, is this going to be a crazy week because we have an episode of Hellhounds on Friday. And then we've got the debut of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set within Sulphur Springs, Red Tide Rising, debuting this Sunday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. It is the start of a brand new story and the growth of the Tampaverse as we know it. So you're going to want to tune in to that. Also, go sign up for a Ko-fi membership, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot to talk about in the Rosebud Thorns after this session, as there has been after all of the previous sessions. So if you want access to that for as low as $5 a month on the Ko-fi, you can see all of the cool behind the scenes offerings we have for you. But other than that, for these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production, produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening, and until next time, bangs, stakes, and claws out.